Kenya and South Africa enjoy warm and cordial relations, which continue to thrive, making it possible for our two countries to realize great successes at bilateral and also at multilateral level. And Mr. President, you have enunciated some of those areas of cooperation. And I want to take this opportunity to express our appreciation for the support that the Republic of South Africa has continued to extend to Kenya. And in particular, we remain grateful for endorsing Kenya and lobbying other SADC countries to support Kenya's election as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council for the period 2021 to 22. The value of like-minded African democracies stewarding our continent to its desired developmental trajectory through consolidation of peace and security can never be overemphasized. Your Excellency, Kenya considers South Africa as one of her most dependable and strategic allies on our continent. And indeed, when President Zuma paid a state visit to Kenya in 2016, we signed several agreements and memoranda of understanding that have greatly contributed to the enhancement of our bilateral relations. Indeed, as mentioned in our previous meetings, it is a shared desire to elevate the cooperation framework between our two countries from a joint commission for cooperation at a ministerial level to a binational commission at heads of state level. Your Excellency, on continental and multilateral matters, allow me at the very onset to commend you for the excellent manner in which you steered the African Union during your tenure as chair in 2020. This chairmanship coincided with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, which marked an unprecedented period globally. I was delighted to be part of the bureau which you led and which established the African Joint Continental Strategy for COVID-19. This strategy continues to date to guide the response to the pandemic. And as a member of the Bureau of the African Union at the time, I recall your tireless efforts in convening numerous Bureau meetings that, among other things, culminated in the appointment of 6 special envoys of the African Union. The envoy's principal mandate was to engage the G20 and other multilateral organizations, such as the World Bank, the IMF, to mobilize support for middle and low-income countries to mitigate the adverse economic impact of the pandemic through debt relief, the deferral of debt payments, the provision of new funding, and these efforts have been largely successful. Your Excellency, while still on matters COVID and in pursuing our agenda of boosting manufacturing capacity for COVID-19 vaccines on our continent, you also have moved through and have established the Aspen Pharmacare, and I do believe that this is a step in the right direction. It is unfortunate that at a time when the world should be collaborating in the fight against the pandemic, rich countries regrettably continue pursuing COVID-19 vaccine nationalism and hoarding. And therefore, the imperative for African countries to build capacities to meet our vaccine requirements is therefore not only urgent, but existential. We in Kenya aim to start local production of COVID-19 vaccines during the first quarter of 2022, with the aim of developing a fully fledged vaccine manufacturing capacity by 2024. And in this regard, therefore, I am looking forward to visiting the Aspen Pharmacare sterile factory in Port Elizabeth tomorrow. Our cooperation on health, Your Excellency. South Africa's medical and scientific prowess is globally recognized. The provision of universal health care is a top priority for my administration, and we therefore look forward to engaging with South Africa on matters health, to draw on best practices and to develop mutually beneficial and synergetic linkages. I am aware, and for which I congratulate your government and the people of South Africa, for the great strides your country has made in the medical domain, with outstanding breakthroughs such as the invention of the digital laser with numerous applications, design of the first induced pluripotent stem cells in Africa, amongst many other things, including pioneering surgical procedures using 3D printed middle ear bones that was developed by one of your local professors, Mashudu Tishifaru, at the University of Pretoria. So in this regard, I do welcome the initiative and the efforts of our technical teams are making to conclude a cooperation instrument that provides a legal framework for collaboration in strategic areas in the health sector. Your Excellency, trade and investment remains one of the strongest pillars of our relations, and South Africa is one of our leading trading partners in sub-Saharan Africa. You have mentioned, and correctly so, that we need to work together to improve the trade imbalance between our two countries. And just to cite as an example, in 2020, Kenya's exports to South Africa were approximately $33 million, while Kenya's imports from South Africa were around 430 million. So we need to see this not only balance out, but also increase in volume. With respect to investment, South Africa is a major source of foreign direct investment in Kenya. And indeed, during the period 2006 to 2019, South African investment in Kenya has risen sharply from some 2.2 billion to some 3.1 billion currently. On our part, investment in South Africa has been rather minimal, and we would like to also see this increase. So, Your Excellency, this is a position that Kenya is working with South Africa is keen to change. Our increasing manufacturing capacity and innovation can substantially drive the increase of Kenyan exports into your country, and we are confident that we have a wide range of products that will be beneficial to South Africa. Indeed, as you have just mentioned, we need to address ourselves to the big question, and that is, what is hindering trade and investment between our two countries, and what is it that we need to do to increase both trade and investment between our two countries. And here, Your Excellency, I would request that we not only task our trade ministers to meet within the next 3 months to resolve all these non-tariff barriers and other constraints that affect trade between our two countries. Further, noting that trade between our two countries is currently hugely in favor of South Africa, we should agree to task technical teams to propose measures that our two countries could adopt to address the trade imbalance. I am sure Your Excellency will agree with me that there are a number of areas where Kenya has a comparative advantage, and these are areas that we would like to see an increase in volumes of trade and also investment between our two countries. Given the strategic importance of South Africa and Kenya in the continent, addressing the bottlenecks in the trade and investment regime between our two countries is an important building block towards harnessing the benefits of the Africa Free Trade Area. We are already working together to lobby countries in our respective trading blocs to ratify the tripartite free trade area, and indeed I urge our teams to hasten this process. Your Excellency, I am encouraged by the ongoing interactions between our business communities and the interest expressed by South African companies, particularly in housing, financial services, and also the energy sectors in Kenya. I want to encourage South African businesses to consider investing more in the full portfolio of opportunities to unlock the latent potential of our cooperation. Your Excellency, our common prosperity goals at bilateral and multilateral levels, as envisioned in our Africa Agenda 2063 and the Africa Free Trade Area, will largely remain unrealized if the free movement of people and merchandise is not encouraged. So with this in mind, I would indeed appreciate the progress made so far towards the realization of reciprocal visa-free travel regimes between our two countries be looked at, for this will certainly act as a catalyst to boosting trade and investment between our two brotherly countries for the mutual benefit of our people. With regard to matters of regional security, indeed, as you have already touched upon, we need to continue to solidly work together to silence the guns and to encourage a greater sense of democracy on our continent. We stand with South Africa on the issue of West Sahara and the Sahrawi people. We commend the government of Sudan for beginning the process of reinstating the civilian government, and we encourage our brothers in Ethiopia to work together, lay down their weapons, and appreciate that the best way to resolve their problems is through engaging in dialogue and ensuring that they managed to fix whatever areas of dispute, since the gun has never resolved anything. We also continue to support the work of SADC and other countries are doing in Mozambique to quell the terrorist threat, and indeed, as we have spoken already with the President, the war against terror will never be won by any one country. It will take all of us working together to ensure that we rid our continent of the terror agenda, and we also ensure that we are able to live as a continent with the peace, stability, and security that our people need in order to prosper. With that, Your Excellency, I wish to take this opportunity in conclusion to extend an invitation to you to make a reciprocal state visit to Kenya at your earliest opportunity, and as we steward together the strengthening of our political and economic cooperation for the mutual prosperity of our two peoples. I thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much.